I understand English but I can't speak well. Maya understood English perfectly, grasping every nuance in movies and podcasts. She could follow complex discussions, appreciate subtle jokes, and even read intricate academic papers with ease. Her comprehension was impeccable, a source of quiet pride. Yet, there remained one significant, frustrating hurdle that constantly held her back, preventing true mastery of the language she deeply admired. Despite her excellent understanding, speaking English felt like an insurmountable barrier, a locked door she possessed no key for. Words would tumble in her mind, perfect and clear, but escape her lips as a jumbled, awkward mess. This stark contrast between internal fluency and external struggle often left her feeling incredibly disheartened and utterly frustrated by her inability to communicate effectively. Social gatherings, work meetings, even simple online conversations became daunting challenges. Maya yearned to contribute, to express her insightful opinions, to truly connect with native speakers and fellow learners. However, the fear of mispronunciation, grammatical errors, or simply getting stuck mid-sentence paralyzed her, leaving her silent and overlooked in discussions where she truly belonged. She dreamt vividly of a day when English words would flow effortlessly, spontaneously, just like her native tongue. A day when she could articulate complex ideas, share personal stories, and engage in witty banter without hesitation or embarrassment. These aspirations fueled a quiet desperation, a yearning for genuine linguistic liberation and the confidence to truly be herself in English. One quiet evening, while watching a captivating interview with a renowned polyglot, a profound realization dawned upon Maya. The expert spoke passionately about language acquisition, emphasizing that comprehension is the mighty root from which all fluent speech eventually blossoms. This powerful insight shifted Maya's perspective entirely, sparking a renewed, vibrant hope deep within her. She understood that her existing comprehension wasn't a limitation, but rather an incredibly powerful, solid foundation upon which to build. It was a clear sign that her brain was already wired to process English, it just needed the final push towards active production. This new perspective ignited a fierce determination to bridge the gap between understanding and confident speaking. Maya decided then and there to actively embark on a structured journey to speak English well, not merely to understand it. Her approach would be holistic, incorporating multiple strategies she had often heard about but never truly committed to. This commitment marked the true beginning of her transformative and incredibly rewarding linguistic adventure, promising real progress. Her very first step was to consciously immerse herself in listening, but with a renewed, active purpose. No longer would she just passively absorb sounds, instead, she would focus intently on intonation, rhythm, common idiomatic expressions, and the subtle nuances of native accents. Every listen became a deliberate, focused learning opportunity, sharpening her auditory skills. She started with English podcasts tailored to her diverse interests, cooking techniques, historical mysteries, and thrilling travel narratives. These topics kept her engaged, transforming mundane tasks into exciting learning sessions. Listening during her daily commute, while doing household chores, or during her evening walks became her sacred, non-negotiable routine. This consistent, active listening habit began to rewire her brain. She noticed herself unconsciously picking up on subtle pronunciation differences and naturally absorbing new vocabulary within authentic contexts. Words that she once only recognized in print began to feel familiar in their spoken form, paving the way for easier recall later. The more she listened, the more her ear became attuned to the natural flow and cadence of spoken English. It was like learning a musical instrument by listening to masterful performances. The melodies and harmonies started making intuitive sense. This deep immersion was silently preparing her vocal cords for future expression, building a crucial internal database. Next, Maya broadened her listening scope to include English movies and television series, initially without subtitles, a challenging but crucial leap. This forced her to rely entirely on context, body language, and auditory cues, pushing her comprehension boundaries. It was often frustrating, but each successful understanding felt like a significant victory. She would then rewatch particularly difficult scenes with English subtitles, meticulously checking her understanding and identifying new phrases or expressions. This iterative process of listening, challenging herself, and then verifying, rapidly accelerated her ability to comprehend complex spoken narratives, making her a much more astute listener. Her comprehension of spoken English improved dramatically and rapidly, far beyond her initial expectations. She found herself understanding almost everything, even fast-paced dialogues, with remarkable clarity. This newfound auditory mastery was incredibly empowering, significantly boosting her confidence, and reinforcing that her dedicated efforts were truly paying off. The second crucial cornerstone of Maya's learning journey was recognizing the immense, transformative power of consistent reading. She understood that while listening trained her ear, reading would furnish her mind with the precise vocabulary, robust grammar structures, and elegant sentence patterns essential for coherent and articulate verbal expression. She began her reading journey with relatively simple English stories, carefully selecting materials appropriate for her current level. Gradually, systematically, she progressed to more complex narratives, articles, and even short non-fiction pieces. This incremental approach prevented overwhelm and ensured steady, sustainable progress in her reading comprehension. English story reading became a cherished daily ritual, a quiet, meditative joy that she eagerly anticipated. Whether it was during her morning coffee or before bedtime, these moments immersed her in new worlds and expanded her linguistic horizons. This consistent engagement cultivated a deep appreciation for the beauty and versatility of the English language. She diligently kept a vocabulary notebook, meticulously noting down every unfamiliar word or intriguing phrase she encountered. After looking up their meanings and usage, she would reread the sentences where they appeared, cementing their context in her memory. This active vocabulary acquisition was incredibly effective and efficient. Through repeated exposure to well-structured sentences, Maya began to internalize correct grammar and syntax naturally, almost unconsciously. She no longer had to actively think about verb tenses or prepositions, the pattern simply felt right. This intuitive grasp of grammar was a direct result of her consistent and focused reading efforts. Occasionally, she would read passages aloud, not caring about perfection, but simply to feel the words on her tongue and practice the articulation. This simple act helped bridge the gap between reading silently and actually producing the sounds. It was a gentle, pressure-free way to start engaging her vocal muscles. Why reading is important: it systematically builds your vocabulary, exposing you to a vast array of words used in diverse contexts. It also imprints correct sentence structures and grammatical rules directly onto your mind, creating a strong blueprint for your own speech. Reading provides the building blocks for fluent expression. Why you must read English: it directly fuels your speaking ability by providing the necessary linguistic resources. Without a robust mental library of words and phrases, spontaneous speech remains elusive. Reading fills this reservoir, ensuring that when you do speak, you have the right words readily available. Despite her significantly improved listening and reading skills, the speaking barrier persisted as the biggest hurdle. The fear of making mistakes, of sounding awkward or foolish in front of others, continued to be her most formidable opponent. It was a mental block that no amount of passive learning seemed to dislodge. Then, a conversation with a seasoned language tutor revealed the simple yet profoundly effective secret: consistent English talking practice, specifically by talking at home to yourself. The idea initially felt strange, even a little silly, but the tutor emphasized its immense benefits for building uninhibited fluency. Maya decided to embrace this unusual method. Her first attempts felt incredibly awkward, speaking to an empty room, a reflection in the mirror, or even her bewildered cat. She started small, narrating her simple daily routine, describing the mundane actions as they happened, forcing herself to articulate every step. "I am making coffee now. The water is boiling. I'm adding milk to my cup." She would meticulously describe her breakfast, her clothes, the view from her window, anything that came to mind. This seemingly trivial exercise forced her brain to retrieve English words and construct sentences on the spot. She described objects around her house, her thoughts about a book she was reading, her plans for the day, even imaginary conversations. This consistent English talking practice allowed her to experiment freely with vocabulary and grammar without the pressure of an audience or the fear of immediate judgment. This crucial English talking practice became her private, judgment-free laboratory. She stumbled, she mispronounced words, she occasionally mixed up tenses, but there was no one to hear, no one to critique. This freedom to fail repeatedly without embarrassment was the key to unlocking her inhibitions. Sometimes, she would even record her voice using her phone, playing it back later to identify areas for improvement. Listening to her own voice speaking English, though initially cringe-worthy, provided invaluable feedback, helping her to correct pronunciation and refine her intonation patterns over time. Why you must listen: it continuously trains your ear to the natural rhythms and sounds of English, building an intuitive understanding of correct pronunciation and intonation. It fills your subconscious with authentic language patterns, making it easier for you to reproduce them accurately when you speak. Why you must read English: it constantly feeds your brain with new vocabulary and reinforces correct grammatical structures, expanding your linguistic toolkit. Reading builds the mental library of words and phrases that you can then draw upon effortlessly during spontaneous conversation, making you more articulate. How to talk at home to yourself: just start. no matter how simple or silly it feels initially. Begin by narrating your daily activities, describing objects around you, or even just expressing your thoughts aloud. The key is consistent, uninhibited practice without fear of making mistakes. The combination of consistent listening, dedicated reading, and fearless self-talk created a powerful synergy. The passive knowledge acquired through listening and reading began to transform into active, usable language. The puzzle pieces, once scattered and disconnected, slowly started fitting together, forming a coherent picture. Her confidence slowly began to blossom, like a shy flower unfurling its petals towards the sun. The initial awkwardness of talking to herself faded, replaced by a growing sense of self-assurance and linguistic agility. She found herself enjoying the process, eagerly anticipating her daily practice sessions. She moved from articulating single words and simple phrases to constructing more complex sentences, then flowing paragraphs. The vocabulary and grammatical structures she had meticulously absorbed through reading and listening began to surface effortlessly, becoming readily available for her spontaneous expression. The English talking practice transformed from a slightly embarrassing chore into an exciting, empowering challenge. Each successful sentence, each smoothly articulated thought, reinforced her progress and fueled her motivation to continue. She was actively shaping her speaking ability, day by dedicated day. Her brain, initially hesitant to produce English, gradually began to think in English more often, reducing the need for mental translation from her native language. This shift was monumental, making her responses quicker, more natural, and significantly more fluid in real-time conversations. The transformation was not an overnight miracle, but an incredibly steady, consistent progression built on daily effort. There were days of frustration, moments of doubt, but Maya never gave up. She trusted the process, understood the power of consistency, and believed in her own potential. One Tuesday morning, during a routine team meeting, an unexpected opportunity arose. A complex problem was being discussed, and Maya, without conscious thought, found herself spontaneously offering a well-articulated, insightful solution. The words flowed naturally, her ideas clear and concise. Her colleagues, accustomed to her quiet demeanor, looked genuinely surprised and visibly impressed by her sudden eloquence. It was a moment of profound triumph for Maya, the culmination of countless hours of dedicated listening, extensive reading, and brave, consistent self-talk in the privacy of her home. This breakthrough moment solidified her belief in the power of her chosen method. It was proof that the seemingly simple habits of daily listening, reading, and talking to herself were incredibly effective strategies for achieving fluency. Her silent understanding had finally found its confident voice. Maya's journey proves that anyone, regardless of their starting point, can overcome the hurdle of speaking well, even if they understand English perfectly. It underscores that understanding is not enough. Active production through consistent practice is the crucial bridge to true fluency and confidence. To unlock your English voice, you must first embrace comprehensive listening. Immerse yourself in authentic English content, podcasts, movies, music, news. Focus not just on what is said, but how it is said. This trains your ear and builds an intuitive grasp of spoken English patterns. Secondly, dive deeply into reading English stories, articles, and books. Reading systematically expands your vocabulary and internalizes correct grammatical structures, providing the essential building blocks for coherent speech. It fills your mental library with the words and phrases you need. Thirdly, and perhaps most importantly, fearlessly engage in English talking practice at home to yourself. This private, judgment-free space allows you to experiment, make mistakes, and correct yourself without embarrassment. It's where passive knowledge transforms into active, usable language. Narrate your daily activities, describe objects, express your thoughts, or even hold imaginary conversations. The act of forcing your brain to produce English words and construct sentences spontaneously is incredibly powerful for developing fluency and reducing hesitation in real time. Record yourself speaking and listen back critically, identifying areas for improvement in pronunciation, intonation, and rhythm. This self-assessment loop accelerates your progress, allowing you to fine-tune your spoken English with remarkable precision and efficiency over time. Consistency is absolutely paramount. Short, regular daily practice sessions are far more effective than infrequent, long, intensive ones. Make listening, reading, and talking to yourself non-negotiable parts of your daily routine, even if only for a few minutes. Patience is also key. Language learning is a marathon, not a sprint. There will be plateaus and moments of frustration, but trust in the cumulative effect of consistent effort. Every small step forward contributes significantly to your overall progress. Do not be afraid to make mistakes. Mistakes are not failures, they are invaluable learning opportunities. Embrace them as a natural and necessary part of the language acquisition process. They show you where you need to focus your efforts. Understand that fluency is not about perfection, but about effective and confident communication. Your goal is to be able to express yourself clearly and naturally, not to speak without any accent or error. Embrace your unique voice. Remember Maya's journey, from a silent understanding to confident articulation. Her story is a testament to the power of self-directed learning and consistent application of effective strategies. Your speaking breakthrough is entirely within your reach. So, if you understand English but struggle to speak, know that you possess the most vital foundation. Now, it's time to build the superstructure. Your journey to fluency begins with actively engaging your ears, eyes, and voice, consistently and courageously. This inspiring tale demonstrates that the path to speaking well is accessible to everyone. It doesn't require expensive classes or native speaker partners initially, it requires self-discipline and the willingness to practice, even in solitude, at home. Your English voice is waiting to be unleashed. Start your personal English talking practice today. Listen English, read English, and talk at home to yourself. The transformation awaits. Embrace the journey and speak your truth confidently.